So this is the new, but not so new, 6-pin to Molex adapter for my power supply. And these are some cable ties that I'll be using in a smaller upgrade today. Hopefully you've watched my most recent case upgrade video, so let's get crackin'. Well, normally I'd go over what each part of the name means, but there's not much in the name this time. A 6-pin connector is a standard connector from any computer power supplies. It is usually called an auxiliary connector and is used to power graphics cards, fans, and SATA-based drives. If you want to learn more about drives, click up here. Molex connector is another standard connector, used more for power rather than data. For this purpose, they are mostly used to power fans and the like. Cable ties are, well, you know what they do. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you recall, when I upgraded my case and put the power supply into its newly polished basement, I made a huge mistake. Here, I'll play the clip again. Notice anything? I'll give you a hint. The dust filter is at the bottom. Looks like I installed the power supply upside down. While this doesn't initially look like it could harm the system, the power supply's fan is now drawing air from a very tight channel above it, which could damage the electronics inside due to excessive heat. So I'll also be remounting the power supply in the correct orientation. So if you haven't seen my last video, I didn't have the proper resources to power my fan controller. This special fan controller can manage up to 10 fans, all with RGB lighting. For this fan controller, I needed a 4-pin Molex connector, but I didn't have one at the time. My solution was to pass the power through one of my old case fans, which had a 3-pin motherboard connector and a 2-pin Molex. This works, however only delivers half the power, only enough to power the fans and not the LEDs. And what's the point of fans without LEDs? So I had this cable shipped to me, which will solve all my problems. This 4-pin Molex connector will directly plug into an auxiliary port on my power supply and power both the fans and the LEDs, and will look much better compared to the current solution. With the new case, I now have a tempered glass side panel. This means I actually have to cable manage. Only kidding, make sure you cable manage all the time. In fact, I got some nifty Velcro ties to help me out here. I will also be using these to tidy everything up inside and around the computer. The first thing I'm going to do is reinstall the power supply. Actually, the first thing I'll do is open up the side of the computer. Can't reach through solid metal yet. Now we can access the basement and all of the cables here. Reseating the power supply is a very simple process, especially in a basement. All I have to do is unscrew the unit at the back, remove the unit out of the case, then flip it around and put it back in. Later I'll screw it back in, but first we must do something else. That's one task done. Let's move on to the new cable. This one takes a bit more work. First I have to unplug the old fan. I'll call this one the pass-through fan. This was used to pass the power from the motherboard through to the Molex connector on the fan controller. I now have a proper cable to power this controller. The main difference being the 4 pins rather than the 2 pins on the other cable. This will provide power for the LEDs as well. Now we can plug in this Molex connector to my power supply and route it with the others. And then I'll screw the power supply back in, using an X pattern to ensure that it's even. Now to continue cabling. First, I'll grab the unpowered fan controller and plug it into the new Molex connector. Now that the new cabling is finished, I'm going to rethink the entire management system. Looks like a fun task. Always remember to cable manage, even when you don't have transparent side panels. It's always good to make your PC look nice and not a mess, especially when you may need to open it up again and make some changes. I'll keep it simple to understand. Keep your cables managed,
or I will kill you!
Phew! Now that that's out of the way, it's time to close it all up and boot it up. Well, that's it. Just a quick video showing off some of the maintenance that goes on when building a PC. I do have another computer video coming out soon, so tap subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, and have fun.